Here's this guy's situation. He says, I'm seeing someone right now for 3 to 4 months, and we haven't gotten intimate, and we haven't had any talk yet. My friend, who is concerned that I am almost 40 and still single, introduced her friend to me, who is also marriage oriented. She does live a few states away and said she wouldn't mind moving here. So in my head, this is already, it's not the worst look in the world, but I feel kind of ambivalent about long distance relationships. Unless, of course, the person is actually willing to legit move if it's working out, then that could be a situation you try to take on, but recognize it's going to take a lot of work to actually make that happen because you have to talk to them. You have to know that you're not going to be dating each other like you're regularly dating. So I've seen it work. Like I've had friends of mine that are now married. They started off in different states and they would just write each other on Facebook and, video chat each other. And then finally he came to visit, but then eventually he moved to where she was at and they were able to make it work out. So that's the only way those situations can work out is if one person's actually willing to move to the area where the other person is. Anyway, he says, I do want to settle down and I do want the chemistry to be there too. However, I do feel guilty, like I am cheating if I talk to her. Should I tell the person I am dating anything or date both and see who I have more chemistry with? I feel like I'm two-timing, but last year around the same time, I also had an opportunity to talk to someone new, and I thought I was steady with the person I was dating, then she ghosted me. So this is a situation that happens, and he's, admittedly, there's a lot of guys out there that are really nice guys that are just like, I don't want to feel like I'm getting over on this other person that I'm currently dating because it'll be two-timing and it feels like cheating, right? But here's the thing. He's not gotten physically intimate with this other person yet, and I'll get into more of that later. And so they haven't also proclaimed this as them being boyfriend and girlfriend. So my motto, guys, if there's no titles, both people are allowed to see other people and do whatever they want until such a time as one of those people, which should traditionally be the woman, comes to the other person and says, hey, what are we? Can we be in a relationship, right? But I was curious. So I wrote him and I said, hey, why haven't you been intimate yet? Have you tried making the moves on her, or has she outright said she's not ready to do it yet? And his response was, I have, and I tried to be blunt, like, come stay at my place. And then I said, okay, I got it. So the first woman has low interest, and the second woman lives out of state. Neither are good options. And again, with the caveat that this other person that's out of state, if she's legitimately willing to move to where he's at, then that could potentially be something he would want to explore. But that's a maybe right now because they haven't had any major conversations. They haven't had any dates. They haven't seen each other in person. So that's still up in the air itself, right? So then this guy asked the question, this other guy, and he says, hey, wait, why low interest? That's certainly possible, but she may also just like to take things very slowly, or she's waiting for the OP to make a commitment. So I could tell from this guy's comment that he is very inexperienced in dating women that have high interest. And so this is my full response to this guy. I said, well, you could be right. I don't know all the particulars of their dating situation. So for all we know, they could be kissing, hugging, and doing other things except getting physically intimate. But that said, and this has been my experience, guys, women that have high interest in a guy are usually the ones trying to passively suggest that they get physical, usually within the first 2 months. And honestly, usually within that first, second, or third date. But anyway, unless she's experienced some kind of, physical trauma in the past, what's likely happening is she has low interest, but likes the attention and likes being taken out. And like I said, if you've never dated a woman that is highly interested, this is going to be a very hard concept to grasp. Because I went through this too. When I was in my college days and I was going on these dates with women and I was trying to just, kiss somebody the third or fourth date. And I got these responses like, well, I'm just a really slow person. I don't want to blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, I'm seeing these same girls later on, like at dances or with other guys. They meet them the first time. And next thing I know, they're making out that same time. No date, not really knowing each other for a long time. And so what that taught me was that women, when they're highly interested, their bodies cannot help but do the things necessary to be able to eventually get that guy in bed. And in my own experience, most women that have a high interest are trying to get me to go to the sack with them after like the first or second date. So when I see guys saying, well, it's been 3 or 4 months and she just likes to really, really take it slow, she doesn't take it that slow for guys that she has a high interest in, but she will take it slow for guys that she's not completely sure about, or she's apprehensive about, or maybe she's seeing multiple guys and he's not on the top tier of the guy that she's trying to choose. That's when women are going to be like, oh, well, we need to wait because she's not really sure if this is the guy that she wants. So anyway, I said in my early days of dating, I would have thought the same thing. Maybe she needs more time or that physical intimacy is really precious to her. But I'm 40 now, and I've dated enough women to know when they have high interest in you, they're usually trying to jump your bones as early as the first date, usually no later than the third date. And true story, I once held out on purpose for like 2 months with a woman, and it was like driving her crazy, like, because I could tell she was starting to hint at wanting to do stuff. And I had been in a previous situation where I had moved, in my head, I had moved too fast. Like we hooked up by the second date. And I was like, maybe I'll just take my time this time and really try to build a emotional connection first. Well, surprise, surprise, when I came over one day and she was just dressed to the nines in lingerie in the kitchen, just cooking a meal. At that point, I had to go back out to the stores to get some gloves, if you know what I mean, because I knew at that point she was ready to get it on and popping, and who was I to deny her that, you know? Anyway, then I said all this to say, unless she specifically stated to this man that she's waiting until marriage to hook up or has had trauma in the past, then she should have wanted to do it with him by now. The fact that she hasn't usually signals low interest. And the best way to tell, I said, for your next date, invite her over to cook dinner, then try to make moves toward the bedroom. It's been 4 months, so she should know at this point that you're not, quote, just in it to hook up, which means if she's not game for it, that her interest is low and she needs to bail. And this is the thing, guys, is that women that have a low interest in you will still stick around because she likes the attention, she likes the meals, she likes being able to tell her girlfriends that she has somebody, especially if all her other girlfriends have people that they're dating. And so you can't let yourself get stuck in that situation or fall for the okie doke of, I just want to wait, blah, blah, blah. Remember, you're the guy. So to some extent, you're setting the agenda. Yes, women are going to be the ones that typically initiate or give the signals for the hookup to happen first. But if it hasn't happened in 3 months, then you got to make some kind of move that's going to let you know if she actually wants to do this with you or if she's just wasting your time. Because if she's not hooking up with you guys, and that's an important part of getting to know somebody in a relationship, then I got news for you. She's not that interested. All right? This episode is brought to you by the Introvert Dating Success Membership Academy, opening on November 1st. Join the waitlist and get your free PDF, The Girlfriend Roadmap Checklist, at introvertdatingsuccess.com.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.